Hey, sports fans and friends, thanks for tuning in on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel, Facebook, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we post new content. Also, go check out all of our great shows on the Shotgun Sports Network. Scout and Catherine host the Elks Call, bringing you all the latest from the Edmonton Elks and Edmonton sports scene. Oz and Joe host the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast, talking about the Montreal Alouettes, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and CFL in general. Clay, Will, and Sir Douglas host the Argos Fancast, where they discuss the Toronto Argos. All of these great CFL shows are all brought to you by Royal Retros. Click the link in the description and use code STAMPS Roundup for 10% off Royal Retros. Great retro gear from leagues such as the CFL, USFL, MLB, WHA, and more. This is episode number 19 of Stampeders Roundup, and this week I talked to former Calgary Stampeders lineman John Bender about the season so far and where we see the Stamps heading down the stretch to the CFL playoffs and Grey Cup. But first, let's do the Calgary Sports Update, brought to you by Rampage Coffee. Disclaimer: Rampage Coffee may cause sudden yelling, rapid heartbeat, and full volume CFL takes before 9 a.m. This stuff is not for the casual fan. It's for those of us who live and breathe Canadian football and don't have time for sleepy, watery, weak-ass coffee. Support the pod and support Canadian business. Fuel your inner chaos. Hit the link in the video notes, use the code STAMPS10, and knock 10% off your order, just like a perfectly timed sack. Rampage Coffee, because you're not here to be polite, you're here to be caffeinated. The Calgary Flames swept the Edmonton Oilers in a pair of prospect games. The Flames won 6-5 in Edmonton on Friday night, with Hunter Lang, Nathan Brisson, Sam Honzek, Adar Sanayev, Matvey Gridin, and Parker Bell all scoring goals. Goaltender Owen Say picked up the victory. Then on Sunday, Mel Levine, Nathan Brisson, Matvey Gridin, Colton Elaine, and Hunter Lang all scored goals en route to a 5-4 victory over the visiting Oilers at the Saddle Dome. Arseny Sergeyev picked up the win in net. I probably butchered a lot of those names. Sorry, guys. The Flames' next action is Sunday, September 21st, where they will play two split squad games with the Edmonton Oilers, one in Calgary, one in Edmonton. It is with great sadness that the Calgary Hitmen mourn the tragic passing of former Calgary Hitmen player Orca Weisblatt. Weisblatt played 138 games as a member of the Hitmen from 2017 through 2021. The Hitmen lost a pair of games over the weekend, dropping Friday's game 4-2 to the Edmonton Oil Kings and losing the final preseason game 7-1 to the Lethbridge Hurricanes on Saturday. The Hitmen open up the regular season with a home-and-home weekend against the Lethbridge Hurricanes Friday in Lethbridge and then Saturday in Calgary. You can find tickets at Ticketmaster starting at $31 all in. The Calgary Roughnecks have announced their home opener will be in the Scotiabank Saddledome December 28th against the Buffalo Bandits. Stay tuned to CalgaryRoughnecks.com for more news and full schedule release on September 19th. The Calgary Cavalry FC, whom I forgot to update on last week's show, defeated the Halifax Wanderers 3-1 on Saturday. Eric Kobza, Ali Musi, and Sergio Camargo all tallied goals. The Cavalry continue to sit in third place in the Canadian Premier League with 10 wins, 7 losses, and 6 draws. The Cavalry's next match is this Saturday against the Valor FC at Atco Field in Calgary. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster starting at $24 all in. All right, let's get to the latest Calgary Stampeders news. The Calgary Stampeders had almost a perfect bye week as the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Edmonton Elks all lost their respective games. That left the BC Lions as the only team that won and gained ground on the Stampeders. As of right now, the Stamps sit just 4 points behind the Riders in second place in the West Division with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses. Stampeders' next game is Friday, hosting the BC Lions on Indigenous Celebration Night. You can get tickets at Ticketmaster starting at $29.75 all in. Go check out stampeders.com for more reactions, interviews, stats, news, and more. Sports fans and friends on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live or post. And like and follow at Stamps Roundup on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now let's get to my chat with former Stampeders O-lineman John Bender.
All right, I got former Calgary Stampeders player John Bender here with me. John, welcome to Stampeders Roundup. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I am all right. I'm kind of sad we don't have a game this week, but hey, we need to work on a few things, I think, after losing to Edmonton.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as the season goes on, the bye weeks are important, and it's good for the guys to get a reset both mentally and physically. And they got a big stretch here down for the next few games. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, now you're a former offensive lineman, so let me start with the offensive line. How do you think the offensive line has looked so far this season?
I thought the Stampeders have played well on the offensive line. The last few games, they've had a little bit of injuries that have been nagging on them. I know they lost their left tackle with Deanna Demery there. And, it's been tough. They've been having to shuffle that deck, and that's always a challenge in pro football because I think it's different on the offensive line where guard and tackle, I know it looks like they're not doing too much different, but the steps and the feet and the way you think about the game changes a lot, and they were moving a lot of pieces around there. In the last game, they lost their right tackle, Coker, there too. I haven't seen an injury report on him, so I'm hoping it's not a bad injury, but they ended up with Zach Williams playing out there at right tackle, so 3 of the 5 offensive linemen were in places they weren't usually, and I think that makes it challenging to run an offense. So hopefully they get healthy here. Hopefully the bye week, they come back, strong, and we hope that they're the best 5 playing here moving forward.
Yeah, for the most part, for the better part of the season, the offensive line has actually looked pretty good. I think that they've given Vernon plenty of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've done a good job. They've done a good job in the run game as well. Dedrick Mills has been able to be one of the better running backs in the CFL. As your offensive line goes, often how the offense goes. So if they're able to protect, they're able to stay healthy, they're able to create some running holes there, you're going to have a great opportunity to not only, create, great plays on offense, but also, hold the ball for a long time, rest your defense. If you have the ball, it's hard for the other team to score.
Yeah, you're talking about Dedrick Mills. Mills has been doing great this season. How do you feel the running back game has been besides Mills?
It's been good. I think that they've done some interesting things on offense with Jalen Philpott. They've got him more into the running game as well. They've been doing some of those wide receiver sweeps and different things like that. When teams start to load up the box, that's a great opportunity to get the big guys like the D linemen, the middle linebackers running laterally. And it just, it's tough on a defense. When you have a big game like that, sometimes you're on one hash of the field and, they end up tackling Jalen Philpott out of bounds on the other side of the sideline. So you're getting a lot of those D linemen and linebackers to run 30, 40 yards in that one play. And then maybe you go hurry up on the next play and you get things going and get into a rhythm. And it can be really challenging on a defense. I wouldn't mind, we used to do some things like this in college as well. We do play, here when they're playing at Calgary, they're playing at high altitude. You get a team like, Toronto, Vancouver that play at a not so high altitude. If you can go hurry up out of the gate with your run game, you can create a lot of challenges and make it really tough on the other team because they're not used to playing at that rhythm and playing at such a high altitude. It can be really challenging on them. So you got to be able to keep the ball moving. Be great on first down, stay ahead of the chains. When you're able to do those things, you're able to do a lot on offense.
That's a great idea. I never thought of that before, but that's brilliant. that would absolutely work. Are you surprised that they're not using Antwi a little more?
I don't think so. He's used when he has. He was a little bit banged up earlier this year. I know he had an ankle injury. I think that cost him, I don't know exactly, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Anyways, he's a talented, player. He'll have his opportunities. I'm sure they're going to use him more down the stretch when they have opportunities. And, I'm hoping that they get to some games here where they're, up big and maybe late in the game we see some of the other backs get an opportunity to get some extra runs and get things going there. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, now let's talk about Vernon Adams. I like what I'm seeing for Adams for the better part of this season. I keep bringing up the fact that he's good for at least 1 or 2 picks every game, but people say that's good because then it means he's taking chances. What are your thoughts on Vernon Adams so far?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 picks every game. He does throw some interceptions here and there. It does seem like he's able to, push the ball downfield and look for the deep ball. And sometimes, as an offense, I know sometimes quarterback coaches and things like that, they say in this moment, it was 2nd and long. We threw a 30-yard pass. It ended up being an interception. It kind of ended up like a punt, anyways, right? Because that ball ended up a long ways downfield. Now, obviously, you don't want to have that happen too often. There's some points in the game where you just have to throw that 50-50 ball. Sometimes that 50-50 ball ends up in the other team's hands. So, I mean, more often than not, the Stampeders have done a great job with that, with guys like Damian Alford being able to get downfield, get them into one-on-one matchups. But there's going to be times where, those guys on defense, they're pros too. They make good money. They've been, they got drafted. They were college all-stars. Now they're playing pro. And, when they have an opportunity to make a play, they're going to do it. But Vernon Adams, more often than not, as an offense, you always want to win the turnover battle. So the Stamps defense has done a great job with the turnover. So maybe Vernon Adams is confident that if he can't thread that needle perfectly and he ends up with a turnover, it's not the worst thing in the world because he knows his defense has his back.
Yeah, you mentioned Damian Alford in there. Let's talk about the receiving core now. Obviously, Bagleton out. Alford was on fire before he got injured, and now he's back from injury, and it seems to me like they're not targeting him at all. Does that surprise you, or is there something deeper to look into?
No, I don't think so. I think it just might take some guys a couple of weeks to get back in rhythm. Anytime you have any sort of hamstring injury, guys are always a little hesitant to, see if they can open up again. We'll see what happens here down the stretch. I think he's another guy that, this week off will be good for. And we'll see maybe he has a bigger role in the offense when he comes back. But they have such a stable of wide receivers. We saw even, different guys at different moments have been big playmakers, whether they're Canadian, whether they're American. They have lots of guys they can throw the ball to. I would imagine it's hard to, keep all those guys happy. I imagine that would be a Vernon Adams, because I'm sure a lot of the guys are saying, hey, I'm open. Hey, we have an opportunity to do this on this play. And, there's only one football to go around, so it could be challenging.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Brooks has been huge this season. Clark Barnes, of course, doing well. So, yeah, definitely a lot of targets for Vernon to hit. Let's chat a little bit about defense. Calgary, I think, for the most part of this season, has had the best defense in the league. What are your thoughts on defense?
The defensive line has done a great job getting after the quarterback. Now, once again, they're banged up. I don't think the bye week's going to do much for Falair and Rimolade. I know that he tore his Achilles, they said. So that's unfortunate. He's a great player, great leader for the Stampeders. They're going to have some guys step up and make big plays without him there. I thought Jalen Hutchings has played well. I think that there's, lots of opportunities for different players in the defense to step up. And, it's a great story. I mean, they changed over 11 of the 12 players on the defense. And, they changed out the D coordinator. They basically started from scratch, started over, and now it's one of the best defenses in the CFL. You don't usually see that in pro football. Oftentimes when you talk about great teams and great programs, it's all the continuity that they have, and guys know where they're supposed to be, know what's expected of them. And this is completely opposite. So it's been great to see. It's fun to watch. As a fan, when I'm watching the game, in big moments that the Stampeders D-line is going to make the other team's quarterback uncomfortable more often than not, and often that ends up in great things for the Stampeders. I think they played great at home. I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, it'd be really nice to get Green back, because Green was on fire as well before he got injured. At least he's in practice now, although very limited. So safe to say he probably won't be back for a few weeks, I'm imagining. Just looking.
I would say if he was in practice and they have a bye week, good chance he's going to play here shortly. If not this
yeah, that was as of September 4th. It said limited. So, I mean, that was 10 days ago almost, 9 days ago. So he may be good to go soon. Yeah. So I just finished watching the Edmonton Elks blow a game. They were in a nice, comfortable lead and let Toronto back in the league. Anything surprising you this season around the CFL? What's the biggest surprise in your mind so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we're waiting for a team in the East to really step up. I think the Ticats played well. We're waiting for another team to step up with them and to, hold down that second spot. Earlier today when I saw that the Elks were up, I was really expecting, a West crossover. With Toronto winning now, that might change things. We'll see how it plays out. But, I think we're all interested. I mean, everybody in the West is with the West teams. It would be really interesting if we had a West-on-West Grey Cup. It might not be the best thing for the CFL or for the team. But, for me, it'd be interesting to see what we could do. I would love if we could see, I think, Edmonton might have a tough time getting there now, but I was hoping that the Stampeders would have a home playoff game, and maybe that third seed ends up being Edmonton. Maybe Edmonton comes in here. But, BC and Winnipeg might have a lot to say about that. They've been playing a little bit better here lately, so we'll see where it goes. But, I'm waiting for a team in the East that's not Hamilton to step up, see what Montreal can do. Maybe Davis Alexander comes back here soon. Maybe the Argos get Chad Kelly back. We'll see what happens. But, I'm always interested to see where things are lining up and who's coming into the playoffs hot and on a big win streak.
Yeah, I was thinking that Toronto was actually going to make a good move here, but Arbuckle actually got injured in this game in the fourth quarter. So interesting to see how serious that injury is going to be and how it's going to affect them. Although I know Kelly, I think, is almost ready to go. So
he announced his big comeback earlier this week, and then he didn't even dress today. So I don't know what's going on. We'll see what happens.
All right, John. Well, great talking to you, chatting some Stampeders football, and we'll see where the rest of the season heads. Hopefully, we're hosting a playoff game, but I'm just hoping we're in there. That's all I want.
Yeah, we're going to see how it plays out. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Have a great rest of your day, John.
You too.
That does it for me here at Stampeders Roundup. Big thanks to John Bender for hopping on to talk about the season so far and down the home stretch. Go check out all the great CFL shows on the Shotgun Sports Network, including Argos Fancast, Rouge, White, and Blue, and the Elks Call. From myself and my friends on the Shotgun Sports Network, thanks for tuning in.
Here we go!